We're good.
All right. Well, we are now at 7 o'clock, and we are here to call to order our monthly meeting of Marinwood CSD Board of Directors. So I haven't chaired a meeting in a while, so I'm going to go ahead and read these instructions out loud if everybody will just bear with me here. Instructions on how to make a public comment during the meeting should any public arrive at this meeting. At points in the meeting when the meeting chair requests public comment, members of the public shall indicate their desire to speak. All public comments shall be addressed to the Board of Directors and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The Board of Directors may choose to respond to comments or request staff to respond at the conclusion of the public comment period. All right, so item A, call to order and pledge of allegiance. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Okay, so let's adopt the agenda. Unless are there any comments or requests for adjustment to the agenda?
No, thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and consider the agenda adopted. Next, we are to approve the consent calendar to include the draft minutes and the bills paid. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Oh, God, I forgot to highlight it.
Go look through it, find one.
Any? I don't. I think
Bill's
Bill-
searching.
Bill's finding it, yeah.
Director
Should we
Shea.
get a magnifying glass? He's not gonna listen.
He's waiting for it to jump out.
Yeah.
Maybe a one moment.
No, I'll forget it.
You can always follow up with me afterwards, Bill.
Yeah, it was one of the things that was under the Marinwood CSD, and it's not, I forgot to highlight it as I went through it.
Was it the engine maintenance?
Go ahead, I'm fine with it.
Would it have been, I'm gonna assume, Bill, that it very well could have been the tax payments?
Oh, yeah. There it is,
Yeah,
9882.
yes, that is
That's
all.
the catch-up, right?
That is actually just delinquent penalties and interest for the state filings that ADP did not properly do. I have a demand for payment in with ADP as we speak,
That was
requesting that they pay not only that amount back, but also the amount we paid to a third party to prepare and file everything properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that demand. for
Yeah,
payment
I was
is
thinking
processed.
that was
Thank
what it
you.
was, so, thanks.
Yeah, that's a significant amount, so thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for putting that demand for repayment.
One of these days, I'm gonna get those guys out of my hair, but it's not gonna be tomorrow.
Fair enough, well, hopefully at some point. All right, so is there a
Motion to approve?
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All is approved for the consent calendar. All right, public comment, open time for items not on the agenda, seeing as we have no public, we will go ahead and bypass item D. And then that moves us to district matters. First item, appointment of board liaisons to Fire Commission and Park and Recreation Commission for calendar year 2026. So
You had said you wanted to do Parks and Rec, didn't you?
Would I would be interested in continuing on fire for another year, only because we have been working with San Rafael, and I'd like to sort of continue on in that spirit, so.
Kathleen, you had said.
And I would like to request Park and Rec since I have never done it.
I'm willing to relinquish that to you since you've never done it.
Perfect.
Although I enjoy the meetings.
You can be my backup, unless you want to take it. So I don't
Bill,
want
would you like an
I don't want to
appointment?
step on any toes. I
It's
hate
it's-
to see that.
It's okay, we can, we're a democracy
No,
here.
no, Lisa, I think it's great.
All right,
to. Okay.
okay, so it sounds like we have our 2 appointments, so do I need to make a formal appointment?
Yeah, what you would do, you don't need a motion. Typically, these are appointed by the board president who's absent, so you're serving in that seat tonight, so you have the authority to appoint accordingly.
Okay, so I will then appoint Director Kilkenny to the Park and Recreation Liaison role this year, and then myself to the Fire Commission Liaison role.
Perfect. Thank you both.
All right, and then moving on to item 2, the district manager report.
Sure. Well, just as we were just talking about, one of the big things, and I gotta acknowledge Tiffany, because this has been, just transitioning payroll providers is a ton of work, and this has not been without its share of challenges, though I will say there haven't been quite as many challenges or as frustrations transitioning to ADP, but transitioning out of ADP has presented its share of challenges and frustrations as well. But we did officially switch effective December 26th. The reason we were really trying to get it in by the end of the calendar year is so that way the new company can create and submit all of our year-end tax filings, prepare all of the W-2s, so on and so forth. So we were able to get that done. It was a little bit of a scramble at the last minute in these first couple payrolls, just trying to iron out all the kinks. Hopefully we are close, and then once Tiffany is feeling like, okay, we've got this down, then we'll start moving into their other features such as time and attendance and things like that. So we'll utilize them for our timekeeping function as well. This is a local company. They're actually located just right down in Belmarin Keys, and we have a lot of familiarity with a lot of the staff who work there as well. So I feel good about it. Again, switching payroll companies, and as a government agency, and especially a government agency with the fire department, our payroll is a lot more complex than you would think, and it's not just a very simple plug and play. There's a lot of unique aspects about what we need to do and how they need to program their system and handle it properly, but they've been super attentive. If we call them, they answer. We have people with names who we know and deal with, as opposed to faceless entities or people across the world in a call center. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to it.
Nope.
And you're an expert at this now?
Sure.
An unwilling expert. But we're getting there, and then again, I mentioned in here the same thing we just said. We did submit a formal demand for payment to ADP for any penalties and interests, as well as costs associated with preparing for the delinquent filings that they did not properly submit. So keep you updated on that. The Talas Reserve Housing Development, this is the one located on what's going to be an extension to Aaron Drive, just across on the other side of Las Colinas. I actually was accompanied by Deputy Fire Chief Bob Sinnott. We met with a county official up there just last week to talk about, one, there is a parcel at the top of the court that is intended, part of the original plan, intended for open space access. So Chief Sinnott was invaluable in kind of telling them what exactly we would need for that, so they could back an engine or a water tender or whatever needed as far up there as possible in the event of fire. And also so we can access it for fire prevention, vegetation management work as well. This won't be a public easement. We will be named on an easement for this slim little parcel, but there's no trails. It's very steep. It's not really a place for the public to go exploring around, not to say that they won't, but there's, this is just intended mostly to allow us to have access to that area. And then we also talked about the streetlights. I actually had a follow-up meeting with a couple people today, just in regards to transferring the streetlights into our possession, and then as well as getting PG&E to number the lights and then basically flip the switch so that they are powered and coming on. I also suggested to the developer, and the county is backing us on this, that they install light shields around the lights to mitigate light intrusion into the existing homes on Ellen Court down on the bottom and Lisa Court. I was very clear in letting them know that when it comes to street lights, this is by far the single largest concern we ever receive from residents, and they would be, it would be worth their minimal investment to get this done. So hopefully all that'll happen. And then the other thing I realized is it's a bit of a learning experience. We have never added new streetlights or needed PG&E to number new streetlights, at least in my 11 years here. And it turns out this hasn't happened anywhere in the county for a very long time, because nobody is entirely sure how exactly you go about this. I've reached out to our government affairs liaison with PG&E asking if he could just please point us in the right direction. The county is also trying to see what they can find out about doing this, but nobody readily knows, because it's been a long time since any new developments requiring streetlights have been built anywhere in unincorporated Marin County.
Wow.
Yeah, it's always something, Bill, you know, so we're getting there. And then finally, definitely been spending a lot of time over the last month just trying to finalize the financial audit. I think we're very close to getting them everything that we need. They are prioritizing getting our state controller's expenditure report done. That is due this month, so they'll do that and then finalize the audit. I feel like we're on track for that, but again, that's just another item we've been spending a lot of time trying to work on and get done. So, other than that, there's been a slew of other things. Most of you know what those are too, but these were the highlights. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
It's interesting, so Aaron Drive will extend, and I noticed towards the end, there's I guess like a little cul-de-sac that goes up the hill. Is that where you're talking about where?
At the very top of that will be an
Okay.
access parcel intended strictly to provide access. They built fencing all along the top, but we
Right.
instructed them they actually need to break apart a 16-foot section of that fencing and install a gate. So that way we can access through that way.
Okay, and then there's 3 streetlights for that whole
Yep.
development?
Yep.
And it puts out that much light?
It puts out enough light, yeah, especially considering you're on a major thoroughfare that has some lighting on it as well with Lucas Valley
Lucas
Drive.
Valley's right there.
Yeah, originally they proposed 11 streetlights. Yeah, we met back in 2023 to go over their original submittal plan, and with the county, reduced it to only 3, very strategically placed on where they're at, and I think that'll provide plenty for what they need, yeah.
And then the access off of Lucas Valley, is that gonna be shut
Emergency
off?
only.
Okay,
Yeah, there's bollards now that have been put in there, that the fire department will have access to remove.
okay.
Or sheriff, or whoever needs to, you know, in the event of, just emergency access.
All right,
That is
okay.
not going to be a thoroughfare, you're
Kind of
not.
like the ones that they have going between the States and Upper Lucas and the ones.
And the county facilities?
Yeah.
Similar. There are little, like, you know, the yellow bollards, you know,
Yeah.
yellow posts that are
Yeah.
kind of blocking that from being driven through all the way. And I wanna say that was either a county or possibly a fire emergency, access requirement to the development.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Eric. I guess that brings us to Fire Department Matters, item F. So update on current status of discussions with City of Santa Fe regarding a potential agreement for full staffing services of Marinwood Fire Station 58. In short, the update is that there's not a whole lot of one. So at this point, as we mentioned in our last meeting, staff from both agencies have been scheduled to meet and continue the discussions mid-December. Staff from San Rafael postponed that meeting, and we're awaiting reschedule options from them. I don't know, Eric, if there's any more that you might want to add to that?
I wish I could. That's all I have. We were supposed to meet the week of December 15th, basically the week after your guys' meeting. They called, postponed it, and the person on the city side who's working on this, who was at the last meeting, is just kind of awaiting further direction from their finance team and the city manager as to where to go, and I have heard nothing since.
So that is where we are at there. And then, any questions, actually? Questions or comments? Moving on to the chief officer report and activity summary. I don't see the chief here. So I'm thinking that, I don't know if there was any direction given on items for us to highlight, but we all have a
Do we
written
have
report.
any more?
Well, what I-
personnel update? The personnel update, as a person, wonderful.
Yeah, I can give you some updates. So first off, Chief Roman informed me that Deputy Chief Sinnott is actually gonna kind of take on the role of putting together these reports. He does a lot of outward communication of reports. So I think you can immediately kind of see the difference in reports from prior.
Yeah.
When I met with Chief Sinnott last week, he indicated that, you know, he intended to be here, and I kind of told him what the prior board sentiment is. You know, if we have a detailed report, yet there's nothing really of interest that is gonna elicit broader conversation at this moment, it's not required that you show up. You're welcome to show up to every meeting, but if we have items that we know are gonna lead into deeper discussion, please do show up, and usually those are separate agenda items anyway. So by all means, Chief Sinnott's not being here, or Chief Roman's not being here, was a little bit of my, I don't wanna say suggestion, but just my letting them know that it's okay. As far as personnel update goes, right now we have a third firefighter paramedic who has agreed to a conditional offer, so he is going through background and all pre-hire screenings. Assuming that goes well, we will present a final offer and then put him into rotation and into the trainings and condensed academy. It does come with a lot of EMS and paramedic experience, and also a decent amount of fire experience as well. So it was a good find. Happy that if this does work out, we'll have 3 paramedics on staff, so that'll be great, and then we'll just look to fill that final position, likely with an EMT. But you never know how
Awesome.
things turn out. Yeah, no, it was
That's
great.
very
It's actually
promising.
really, it's very promising.
I
It's
don't
very
wanna
great
fix
news.
this, I don't wanna say.
Yeah, no, again, anything can happen between now and then, but like I said, I mean, he signed and accepted the conditional offer as proposed, so that's a good sign. I haven't met the applicant personally, but he went through 2 different rounds of interviews and was highly regarded. Yeah, otherwise, if there's anything in here you have a question about, I can do my best to answer it. Or I can push it forward.
I'm gonna move
I have no
forward.
questions at this time.
I also don't have any questions, so thank you.
Great.
All right, so moving on to park and recreation matters. Item 1, recreation and park maintenance activity reports.
All right, thank you. Well, since we last met, I think the last meeting was just before our annual Jingle Bell Jazz concert, which was on December 12th. And that was an awesome event, and I think that was one of my favorite ones that we've had so far. It was a great turnout.
It was crowded.
It was really crowded, but it wasn't crowded in a way that you felt uncomfortable. It was just
No,
like, oh, look at all the
it was
people, you know.
Constant movement.
Yeah, and Robin and the rest of the rec staff did a good job, because last year was crowded in a way that wasn't comfortable. We were not foreseeing how long the Santa line was gonna be, kind of cut right through, so we reorganized a little bit this year, and everything flowed really well. This room was packed with people doing arts and crafts. We had Santa doing pictures in the lobby. It was great, great Santa Rick. My youngest had a great time with him. And then we had the band in the main room, and we had a food truck out in the parking lot, and it was just a really good use of the facility. And people, this year was interesting because it was really cold. It wasn't raining, thankfully, but everyone was just hanging out. It was just like, it wasn't like get your kid through all the things and go. It was like people just really stuck around and were sitting down, and just it was a very good community vibe, and a really enjoyable event this year. So we're really happy with it. And then one of our better turnouts, I think, to your point, Bill. It was very crowded, but it seemed to flow well. And during that time and leading up to that, our annual Santa Letters program, where we have a North Pole mailbox out on the patio outside the reception hall, where kids can send their letters to Santa. And we also had that featured at the event, and we got a ton of letters. And I just want to thank Carolyn in the office for helping facilitate that and making sure every one of those letters got answered. And my kids got letters from Santa back to them. They were super excited about that, so it's fun to see that from kind of a different angle for me. But and then also over the winter break, we had our winter break camp that we do every year. We did 2 weeks this year while the kids were out of school, which went really well. Always great to see our summer camp staff that come in from college and that are off school and high school to help us with that. And that went really well without a hitch. And during that time, Robin and John Paul always do a good job of bringing people in. We take care of a lot of our interviews for summer for people that are looking to move up in our summer programs, whether to interview for senior lifeguard positions or camp director positions. While they're home, those guys are really good about bringing them in and helping or getting through those interviews. And also they do some planning meetings and put people to work to do various things for us. So that was super helpful. It was great to see a lot of our staff that we don't see during the school year very much. And we've got a lot of good things in place for the summer, and things are coming together and looking really good for that. Our next event is going to be our annual winter wine tasting, our Raise a Glass event, which will be on Saturday, March 7th. We've got a lot of great wineries secured for that, good live music, and it should be another really fun event. So looking forward to that. In the meantime, we're putting the finishing touches on our spring-summer catalog and getting everything put into the computer to be ready to open registration for summer camp and for pool memberships, swim lessons, and all the summer programs and our spring classes and things. So that's all getting really close. We're just editing the catalog, final check of everything, and doing all the data input, which takes a long time. So it's kind of all hands on deck on that right now. But we should be all ready to go. Things are on schedule, and I believe all of our summer programming opens up, I believe it's March 3rd is the camp registration date that we'll have all that blasted out and put out very soon. So don't quote me. But yeah. On the park maintenance side, we've had a wet winter, but thankfully it hasn't been dramatic. We've had these breaks, and all of our drains and the creek and everything have been flowing well, and we have not had the kind of issues you've seen in southern Marin. Thankfully, everything on our in Marinwood has been handling the water very well. Staff have been out checking the drains. When we've had the rain, they've been out every day just doing inspection, making sure everything's okay. We've only had a few little areas where we've had to remove some debris or just check things, and everything's been cooperating and going very well, and we're crossing our fingers that the rest of the winter rainy season will be as uneventful as we've had so far. So that's been great. We've got the sand out in the parking lot. We've got sandbags that we're giving out in the community center during business hours, and at the fire department if it's after hours, and we'll continue to keep all of that stocked throughout the rainy season. But so far it's been pretty mellow, so that's been great. But we have spent time. We've had all these long stints of sunny weather. The crew has been able to get out and do some good creek bank fortifying. We've done a lot of planting and removing invasive species and tried to build up some of the banks that have been vulnerable during the storms historically. And all the work we did in December has held up really well in spite of all the heavy flow. And so we'll do a few more things this month when it's the right time to plant willow shoots and whatnot. But yeah, so far it's been great. We've had these great windows to be able to get work done. So it's been a very nice winter from that respect, and we've been taking advantage of it. This week, this past week, the staff have taken advantage of the sun. We've been out installing some new irrigation components out by the water meter that we'll be using this spring when we turn the irrigation back on. And I'm really excited. It's geeky irrigation stuff, but we're putting some new components in that will allow us to better regulate the system, lower the pressure so that we're less likely to break pipes, and we'll be able to shut the water off when we're not watering. There won't be water in the system when we're not actually using the sprinklers, which will cut down on the water loss when we do end up with a leak or a break or something like that. We're also going to be automating the system slowly over the next couple seasons as we have the ability to do that, but we'll be able to control everything off one central controller, and it'll all be remote so that the gophers chewing through our wires won't ruin everything and cause us to have to go trenching and replacing things. So we're kind of going into the modern era with our irrigation system, slowly but surely, and I'm very excited about that. So the start of that process we did last week and this week, and it's all went very well. So I look forward to reporting back once we turn everything on in the spring, how much easier everything is and how well it's working. So look forward to those reports.
And the hours of work is worth it, right?
Yeah, no, it's all going to be, it's like, you put some time in now, and that'll way cut down on repairs down the line and water loss. So that'll be a win-win. And then other things going on, we've got some tree work going on that I touched on in my report, and then the pool season is coming up quick, so we'll be out there just getting things cleaned up, do some painting, some patching, and just getting things ready for the water devils at the end of February, and then the general public at the end of March. So they'll be busy just sort of making everything look good. There's nothing major we have to do down there this season. And then the big pool shell replastering will take place next fall. And so in the meantime, we're just going to get everything ready to go to get through the 2026 season. So please let me know if you guys have any questions about anything in the report or anything else. Thank you.
Is the sub pump, what is dug up near the fire station, or is that?
We actually have, it's in one of our closets in the back of the building. There's like a pit that it drains water out of. When we have really heavy rain, we'll get water under the reception hall, and we have a pump situation to kind of drain that out. And I don't even know the history of that, but it just seems to work. Our pump failed recently, so we've got the new one, and we'll put that in. And so
Didn't know if it was the sub pump or the irrigation.
No, that's just like a groundwater that makes its way into the reception hall, and then when the heater turns on, the windows get all fogged up and it's kind of gross. So we have a pump to mitigate that, but it's really old, and so we finally had to replace it. So.
Thank you, awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Can I add to Luke's before we move on? He reminded me, we also did the Santa tour with the fire engines
Oh, yes, we did.
last month. It went awesome. It was great. We banged it out in a day. The weather cooperated. Despite it being very cold, the weather cooperated. People were we got a lot of appreciation and thank yous from
People
residents.
came out to visit.
They absolutely did.
Yes, I
Once
did.
again,
I did too.
we had a stellar
Really
Santa,
so.
and I want to really thank Greg Stilson and John Surratt, who gave up a full day to tour around and drive the Wildland engine, leading the charge behind the utility, which we utilized from Santa Fe, that had a Santa with myself driving, and then the on-duty crew participated as much as they could. They actually got called in on a mutual aid call that morning to the liquor store fire in Santa Fe that day, or I'm sorry, in Nevada, down on Grant. So they weren't able to jump in until probably about midday, but they certainly followed and also arranged to make sure lunch was there for everybody when we took a little break. So the day went great. As we drove by each of your houses, we made sure to go really slowly and turn the sirens up as loud as they could. So
Make sure everyone was awake.
So thank you
We
for
heard
coming
you,
out
we
or
heard you
not.
guys, we were not able to make it up.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But
I did
it went
have a
good.
minor heart attack. I was like, oh yeah, that's what it is. And I looked down and I was like, I can't.
And thank the two elves.
Yeah, that was the point of me bringing this up, really, like I said, Greg and John, who volunteered their time for the entire day, just super appreciated, and then Robin, who secured 2 elves to help Santa with handing out candy canes and helping Santa's visitors get up and down off the back of the truck. So it was great, made it all the way through all of the neighborhoods, even a couple streets that even I didn't know existed, or found a tennis court that I never knew existed in Upper Lucas Valley,
Do
so.
you know about that one?
No, I never knew, I had no clue that was there. I've lived there for 16 years, I never knew that was there, but.
You should get out more.
Yeah, you know, why I would go into the
One by
middle of that, I
LA.
mean, it was the strangest thing, like, in this little trapped circle up
Yeah.
there, but, yeah, so at any rate, it was
Very
great.
good.
I just wanted to add that, Luke reminded me with his report about the Jingle Bell Jazz event. So we spread cheer.
Good.
Yes,
This year.
we do.
Do they get a lot of presents that are dropped off in the bin in front of the firehouse?
They actually do, they get quite a few of those, and some people actually gave us some as we were doing our tour,
Because I know that's
with Santa as
previously,
well.
that's what we've done, is have them give it to them.
Yeah, so, and that's the whole Santa Cop program, so all that goes through them, so I'm sure those were put to good use.
Wonderful. It was definitely a month full of cheer, a lot of work, so very much appreciated.
It was a full month.
Yes.
No 2 ways around that, but thank you.
All right, so then, next we have item H, board member items of interest, and requests for future agenda items. Nope, have any?
Should I dare ask about FEMA?
There's absolutely nothing on the FEMA front, I've heard.
Okay.
So that would be the update there.
So
At the
then,
next
no.
meeting,
So no.
hopefully, the audit will be done, so that'll be presented.
Yeah.
We'll put together a P&L statement, financial statements for the first 2 quarters of the fiscal year. And then February, for the last few years now, is when Luke and I will get together and present proposed wage review and adjustments for Park and Rec and admin staff.
Perfect, so we'll have a full agenda.
More so than this month,
Right,
yeah.
all right, very good. Well, then I think if there is nothing else, we are set to adjourn at 7:33, a record.
God love
Land
you.
speed.